Well, thank you for joining us right now. We're going to be talking about the transportation initiative being launched in Hillsborough County. And joining me right now is Chris Hudson, who is the State Director of Americans for Prosperity, Florida. Chris, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you drive the roads in the state of Florida. You drive the roads in Hillsborough, all these areas. You're from the Naples area, but you're driving around here. Do we have a transportation problem?
I think everywhere around the state has a transportation problem, and I think there's a definite need. It's a critical function of government, and so I would say absolutely there's something that can be done everywhere in this state on transportation.
Okay, you represent Americans for Prosperity. Is that an organization supported by the Koch brothers or not?
That is an organization that's supported of thousands of donors nationwide, and most of which come right here within our great state of Florida, and a good chunk of them right here in the finer points of Hillsborough and Pinellas County and the surrounding areas.
So what would you say your mission is?
Our mission is really simple. Our mission is to advance a society of mutual benefit, one that helps others succeed by improving the lives of others. We really believe in that reciprocity of goodwill, that idea that equal rights and the general nature of individuals to help others is extremely important. We believe that if you educate and mobilize folks and point out the policies that help them promote, prop up, and promulgate good, solid institutions, those institutions will benefit everybody in society.
Do you consider yourself to be an anti-tax group?
I think that we are a group that doesn't support most taxes because we look under the hood. We are certainly a whistleblower, a watchdog, whatever you want to call us, on tax fights, because oftentimes the tax fights we see across the state of Florida and the counties and the cities are not well thought out. They are not applied to good uses, and they often come without the transparency and accountability in looking at our own government. So for instance, you often see a tax fight or a tax increase when a government institution, or take it in this case Hillsborough County or the city of Tampa, want to fund another item with the revenues that they have, instead decide, but this critical need over here, we're going to need to tax for it. So i.e. in Hillsborough County, they're looking at trying to fund a baseball stadium. They spend a lot of times giving funds to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And at the same time, we're talking, as you did right at the onset of this show, that there's a critical transportation need. I would argue that that's part of the reason we get involved. We say, whoa, stop the silliness here. There's no money tree in Hillsborough County. The residents are not yours to pick their pockets. There's an injustice here. That's why we picked this fight.
Okay, I'll pick a fight with you now because I've got this information. So here's the problem as they see it. And I've been in this area since 1986, so I'm well acquainted with what's happening with our transportation. They have had failed transportation initiatives before, and the people that are driving this area, knowing that you can never plan on whether it's going to be a 20-minute drive or a 2-hour drive, are just basically fed up with it. And they say, we need to get it fixed. And if government can't fix it for us, we're going to put together a petition with 77,000 signatures, and we're going to say, we, the citizens, want something done about transportation, and we are willing to tax ourselves to make that happen. What's wrong with that argument?
Well, I'll tell you that that's not what we hear from our activists and the individuals who have reached out to us to engage here in Hillsborough County. Those activists have reached out to us and said they keep dipping into our pockets. They've said we have a transportation problem. My grandparents live in Sun City. They call me all the time and say their roads in Sun City are just fine, and if they need to be fixed, there's existing dollars to already fix those roads in those situations.
I would bet you if we just went out and grabbed 20 people anywhere in Tampa Bay area that you would get at least half or more to say we've got transportation problems. And all the studies that have been done by metropolitan planning organizations and other companies that come to this area say that transportation is one of our critical areas that if we don't address, again, this is the argument being brought forward, is that we're not going to be able to continue to attract good businesses to the area. The wonderful project downtown, the Water Street, is not going to be able to be fully funded in terms of getting the people to move around the area. And again, they say because this isn't government going to the people, this was the people going to the people.
So I think you have two things at play here. We have to remember that these folks just came out of a recession that live here in Hillsborough County. And the folks that have contacted us have said, what's going to happen again if we go back into a recession? This funding stream is going to be dedicated on a sales tax. A sales tax that, by the way, hurts the poorest among us. It doesn't hurt those folks who can afford the penny on the dollar. It's going to hurt the poorest among us. You know, the net total bill that a taxpayer pays here is right around $4,500 over the 30-year period. You know, $4,500 is a good chunk of an AA degree. $4,500 is a good chunk of rent you're going to pay over a 2-year period. $4,500 can go a long way, especially in the pockets of those individuals who are the least fortunate in this community. We are adding to their burden, and we're not adequately preparing for a future that may not be as robust today as we would like it. We have come out of a recession stronger and better, and that's and a lot of credit to the good policies that have been passed in this state. But we're not invincible. And it is possible that we could go the wrong direction. And we can't tax our way to solve the solution.
And I understand that argument, but the reality of it is that we do have a transportation problem. Every major organization, every company that has tried to come here has identified that as being one of the critical issues that we have. Now, you know, it's up to taxpayers to decide what they want to do. But again, getting back to this effort, these are people, younger people, moms and dads that live in these areas that are expanding so rapidly that sometimes when you're trying to turn into a mall, it takes you 20 minutes to get across the lane. Or when you're trying to get your kids to school, a traffic line can back up 2.5 miles, literally, for some of these parents to be able to drop off the kids because we don't have adequate roads. What's the better way to address the issue? Should the county just buck up and just say, okay, we'll take care of this?
Frankly, I do believe those who we hold accountable are our government, our elected officials in the constituencies that they manage, i.e. your county bureaucracy, the folks who are in charge of managing the day-to-day operations of our community, along with the city of Tampa and others that are in and around the area that use these roads, that it's important to protect their constituencies from a safety and health and welfare perspective. But it's interesting, even if you admit that there's a critical need, there's a prioritization problem in government. We're asking the taxpayers to foot a new bill. We are going to rob them, and we're not going to prioritize our needs. If you say transportation is a critical need...
They say they'll do that. In fact, they'll do it with an independent commission, so it won't be all completely reliant on government, because a lot of people, as you know, don't trust government. So they've got independent people that will look at these dollars and say, we're going to go to these agencies that already exist. They're not creating any new agencies, but they'll disperse the money to where it's needed most, as identified those people that are in the process.
So shirking a responsibility is not a great way to solve a solution, solve a problem. The solution here is to go back and look at their budget. We don't need more upgraded jumbotrons. We don't need to be taking a look at privately owned businesses being funded by the government. You know, we're talking about a ballpark that, as of yet, doesn't have a figure.
I understand that, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about the transportation needs that we have right now today.
Absolutely. And if they're going to have the discussion about the ballpark today, they should have the discussion about the transportation needs today in county and city government. They don't need to go outside their own purse and dig into the wallets of the taxpayer. They're just adding to the problem. They're not going to solve it.
So the taxpayers don't get any benefit when the roads are less clogged?
No, they absolutely do. And I would suggest that the county deals with that first before they deal with some of the other issues that they've been discussing of late.
All right, Chris Hudson, good discussion. Here's Americans for Prosperity. They say that you should vote against the Hillsborough tax initiative that would be used for transportation funds. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much.